warahmatullahi wabarakatuhu. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to day 2 of the Ramadan series of the story of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Peace and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be on him. So yesterday we started the series with an introduction, and also we talked about how Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a special child, and so we will be proceeding today with another chapter or another story about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So today we will be talking about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam growing up in Mecca. So, I mentioned this yesterday about how in the time the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was born, there is this tradition that was in place in Mecca, which is if a child is given birth to, they are taken to the village in Mecca and given to what they call a wet nurse. And what a wet nurse does is a wet nurse is responsible for taking care, feeding, and raising the child. It is believed that life in the village, you learn more, you're exposed to a lot of key foundational and developmental opportunities that was not present in the city. So the Prophet's mother, remember we said yesterday his father died when he was before he was born, and so Amina, the Prophet's mother, handed the Prophet ﷺ to a wet nurse by the name Halima. And so Halima was responsible for taking care of the Prophet ﷺ, feeding him with other kids that she had at that time. There's this particular story that I want to highlight today, and that was the first time that something different happened to the Prophet ﷺ. He was playing with one of the children that Halima was also taking care of. And so they were playing in front of the house. All of a sudden, two men in white came and took the Prophet ﷺ, laid him down on the ground. When the other children saw this, they ran into the house to tell Halima, and by the time they came back with Halima, the two men had already left. And we know that the two men, one of them was Angel Jibril, so they were actually angels. So that was the Prophet ﷺ's first encounter with angels. And so it was Angel Jibril and another angel that came to the Prophet ﷺ, and what they did, according to the story, is that they opened the Prophet's heart and cleansed him of weakness. They cleansed him of jealousy or anything bad, and they kind of purified him. And so when they did that, they left, and that signified a turning point in the life of the Prophet ﷺ, because when Halima saw that, she didn't know what to do. She didn't know what that meant, and so she was afraid, and she took the Prophet ﷺ and took him back to his mother. Now, one thing that I also wanted to point out is that when he was growing up with Halima, she saw that, her goats and her cattle, and they were all flourishing. She had a lot of milk. she had more wealth, and this was all as a result of the presence of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in her household. He brought a lot of good tidings, wealth, into the house. But unfortunately, after that incident with Angel Jibril and the other angel happened, she grew really scared that something harmful might happen to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and so she returned him to his mother, in Mecca, and he continued living with his mother in Mecca before the trip that they embarked on, where unfortunately his mother died. So that is the story that we will be sharing today. Um, Inshallah, I hope you have learned something, which is how a lot of good tidings came to Halima as a result of taking care of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how the Prophet was cleansed by Angel Jibril and another angel when he was 6 and playing in front of Halima's house, and how Halima had to return the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to his mother after that incident, and unfortunately, during a journey to Yathrib that Amina, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's mother, and Prophet were making, Amina, the Prophet's mother, died. So he became a true orphan in the sense that his father had died before, his mother died as well, and now he was truly an orphan. With that, we're going to end today's story. This is day 2 of Ramadan series, and inshallah, I look forward to talking to you tomorrow, inshallah, for day 3 of the Ramadan series. Thank you so much for joining me, and Ramadan Kareem. Assalamu alaikum.